supposed to attack, but whatever. I decided to play basically kind of just a total sandbox game without a peaceful sandbox game, basically. So I got a few different saves at different points, but I'll just show you. Actually, I got a little further than that earlier while setting up. Can I show you what I have here? And this is kind of my factory here. It looks all big and complex, but the main point here is I got a row of 10 labs, and they can research stuff pretty quickly. I'm feeding them 3 different science potions, science packs, not really potions, but basically I got an ore area here for iron ore. I got another ore area here that's starting to run out for copper ore. Let's go down all the way here. I have a coal mining area here, and I basically have it now. It didn't start off that way. I kind of had 3 separate belts, but I've kind of all combined them. I have these splitters here. So this goes down and is powering my power plant. Basically have a whole bunch of furnaces, boilers here, and here I've later learned that I could probably put another pump or 2. Basically I got to one point, I don't know if I had 10 or 12 of these, and then as I put more in, they didn't run, and I figured out that I didn't have enough water coming in. So I basically just made another side, but I've later learned that you can actually have up to 3 pumps filling a single pipe. More than that doesn't actually add any more water. I guess water pressure or whatever. You see right now, most of the factory's not running, so I'm actually pulling very little power out of this. But I'm guessing that this may actually not be enough if I have everything running at once. But we'll see about that. A few other things is I researched solar panels, and they can provide power, but they only do it during the day. You also have these accumulators, which store energy, basically. Not sure how much they store. It's not okay. I have 4 of them, and it says 10 kilojoules. So they apparently store 2.5 kilojoules each. I'm not sure how that converts to kilowatts. This is all very interesting. I actually have played. Well, I didn't think it was that much, but I think it may be 8 hours about. So yeah, you can see the solar and the capacitors or accumulators don't provide very much power compared to the steam engines. I'm hoping maybe in the future they add something else besides steam engines, maybe some wind, maybe some nuclear, but we'll see. Basically, so it gets split up. Some pull off a very little bit over here to make the it's hard to point them out, but flamethrower ammo, and then I have one thing taking some flamethrower ammo and making some landmines out of it. But basically most of it comes up here, and don't worry about the belt coming down. I'll talk about that later. And basically I come up here. I got my ore coming in, and basically I split this off, so I send coal down either side with appropriate ore, and that feeds these furnaces. These are basic furnaces. You can actually then later research steel furnaces. It takes more material, but it runs at twice the speed. It smelts things at twice the speed, and takes up the same spot. I didn't convert all of these because you can see my basically at one point I had this many furnaces for copper, and I basically was running low, so I built a whole bunch extra. But now with all the capacity, and now most of the machine's not running, it's all backed up. I still have steel running because obviously something is still using steel plates, and you can see then over here I'm pulling off some of the steel plates to make sorry, those are iron plates. Yeah, so iron ore and the coal, smelt it into iron plates, then iron plates and some more coal. I'm using this side as the source and the destination for the steel bars or plates. Well, they look like bars, I'm not sure what they're called. Then I have filter inserters. Let's turn that on. Grab the steel off and put it on this conveyor belt. You can see this is a red conveyor belt because when things are moving, this needs a speed so that there's room to put things in the middle. Make some gears over here. I got 6 machines making copper wire, and sometimes that's actually not enough. So the steel comes down here and around, and basically the rest of this is the main factory floor, if you want to call it that. I've got this iron and copper on one belt, and then gears and wires on the other belt here, because they're the main ingredients for almost everything. Around the outside here I have the steel, because they're used in some additional things. So up here I have 3 machines making belts, and really I probably could have only used 2. I have 6 machines making circuits, and I needed more actually, so later on there's actually some more. So at this point here I have 3 belts basically. The top belt here with the circuits and conveyor belts, the middle belt, which goes missing a lot of times because it's actually the least used further on down the line, which has gears and wires, and then the bottom belt, which has the plates and plates, iron plates and copper plates. So down here I build the red science packs out of just the I believe it's a, well, we can, 1 copper plate and an iron gear wheel, so it takes off both. We got the long-handed inserter and the short-handed inserter, or normal inserter. That puts them on the belt down here. Up here we are building the green science packs, and I originally had 4, but I needed a 5th, so I built it over here. But basically they take the conveyor belts and the circuits and make those science packs. And basically they're both put on opposite sides of one belt after some routing. After I got all the science stuff set up, I built some machines to make some normal ammo. I have machines over here that make some piercing rounds, and there's something special about them I'll show you later. So then I needed blue science packs for the further researches, and there's a lot of researches. I still haven't done them all in this. So they're done way over here because you need a lot of stuff. You need a steel plate, an advanced circuit, a rocket, and you need a smart inserter, which apparently is the top of the line inserter, and I'll talk, hopefully remember to get back to them. So the first thing I decided to do is make the smart inserters. So I have basically 2 assembly lines for them, and you start off with a normal inserter, which is gears and iron plates, and then let's click on it. Oh, and a circuit board. So it needs access to all 3 of these lines. So you can see this grabs the plate, and this grabs the gears, and then the circuit boards dip down and it's close enough for that. I made one line at first and then realized that that wasn't going to be enough. They get produced pretty slowly, so I basically have filter inserters here to grab off the, you see they're going a little plates and gears. They kind of wrap around here so they can be grabbed, and then I have some inserters grabbing circuit boards over here that feed them down over here, because every step after the first one needs some circuit boards, and the first two steps need 3 ingredients. So I have a assembly machine number 2 that can actually take up to 4 ingredients, but then the final 2 steps just add additional circuit boards. And finally build smart inserters, and they're stuck on here. The next ingredient is advanced circuits, and they actually need 5 electric circuits and 5 copper cables. So when these things are going, they suck up all the circuits. So I actually have an extra machine building circuits and an extra 2 machines building wires, and there are enough copper plates coming through that this can build more wires, and they're kind of brought back here and then stuck on here, because if these are all running, they wind up sucking up all the wires, so we need some additional wires for these to run. Then next step is rockets. And apparently rockets take a long time to build, and I didn't think I had that. I thought I only had 4 machines, these two, and these 2. But apparently I have 6 machines building rockets. And so they stick the rockets on the same belt as the iron bars. So we then get here, we have the iron bars, the rockets, the smart inserters, and the advanced circuits. And these 4 assembly machines are building them. I can actually fit in, well, more. Basically, I did all that and got that all working, and did a whole bunch of the research with that, and then started playing with some other stuff. So one of the researches unlocks a car, so I built a car factory here. It doesn't actually take as long as I thought to build a car, and let's see exactly. It should be under transport here, or is it? It's under military apparently. But you need 20 iron plates, 5 sticks, 10 gears, and 5 circuits. So I had access to the plates over here, so I built some sticks, and they come over here, and then it grabs the gears and circuits and plates. I could have just had this go up here, but basically I have this filter inserted to only grab plates, because I also wanted to make a chest full of plates, because I was constantly running out and having to basically grab some off the main conveyor belt all the way back here. I would basically just hold down the grab key and scroll up here, but I'd also then grab a lot of copper, which I'd wind up not using, and had my inventory filling up with copper. Another thing that I made is, well, so I have the cars going into this chest, and apparently they don't stack, so it actually filled up pretty fast. But this is what it looks like now. It used to look like a red 50s style kind of car, but apparently they've changed that since. You put in some coal, and you put in some stuff in the trunk, and if I actually had an avatar, you could get in it and drive it around. But I don't. Which has made things easier. I didn't have to walk around like having the belts push me around and stuff, but you can't drive the car around. So some good points and some bad points. Another thing I unlocked in my research is these logistic robots, and they look like kind of alien spaceships. They kind of hover around, but these logistics robots with these 3 chests, provider chest, storage chest, and requester chests, you can move items around without using conveyor belts. and I actually haven't really played with them too much, or I should say at all, but I have let's pick up some circuits and I'm out of steel. But you can see these build relatively quickly, and you just need some steel, some gears, and advanced circuits. But basically, oh, they changed how these look. They used to look more like their actual graphic here. But basically, I have a few of these, so... Oh, and they changed how they look too. They used to look how their little graphic is, like a little UFO. You can put a provider chest next to a factory so that the output of the factory goes into the provider chest, and I'll stick these in here. And once that happens, the robot will automatically take things from a provider chest and put them in a storage chest if it isn't doing anything else. Then you can have these requester chests, and you can say, I want some plates over here, I want 50 of them. And it will either take from storage chests or provider chests and fill this chest until it gets to 50 and then stop. You can then have an arm inserter grab stuff out, and the robot will then take more and fill it up, and you can basically have a source in several destinations, or several sources in one destination, or different combinations of that. And as things are needed, and as more robots, they'll all go and help out what's needed. And so it's an alternate method of getting things around, other than using conveyor belts every place. And it's especially helpful if you have to go over and under, and you can see I have several places here where I have to go over and under and all around to get things routed the right way, and this just makes it a lot easier, but it's not as fast. Now, you can research upgrades to increase the speed or increase the amount of objects they can carry at once. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with that, but also, well, I could research that. I think the higher levels, though, need the alien artifact item. Now you can see this is empty, so they just stop until either, oh, I need more here. And now they'll take off again. 7480. So that's one neat thing. Let's come back here. I did notice that when this thing was running full tilt, I was kind of running out of iron a little bit. Steel. So I did unlock this, so I probably don't. This is overkill, but I figured, why not? This is an electric furnace. Now, it's bigger than a normal furnace, but it doesn't need coal. So, this is me just kind of playing. I probably only needed one. These needed the steel. I don't think these guys need the steel. And I think with both of them running, it was kind of outpacing the rate at which I could produce them, because even though these are producing them twice as fast as a normal, it still takes a bit. And these were also grabbing some steel, so but now the chests are all filled up. So I kind of just built 4 of them. I think one would have been enough, but I do have plenty of plates. So, see these, everything's all backed up now that it's not running. Speaking of not run, I have a little, one of the other things, I guess I'll talk about now, that I unlocked is railroads, and you can build straight tracks and curved tracks. The curved tracks wind up being 2 or 3 times longer than the straight tracks, but they basically, it's an eighth of a curve each piece. And then you can, did I just not see it? Oh, here, yeah. You can build a diesel locomotive. Well, it's called a diesel locomotive, but it runs on coal. And then cargo wagons, and you can hook them together. Now, if you're playing with the, as the guy, you can actually get in and ride the train around. But luckily, you can also research. Here we go. Automatic rail transportation, where you can set up stations and basically schedules, and I'll show you that now. So I started running. Obviously, I'm not running low here with iron ore. I chose this place because it had a big abundance of iron ore. But I've started running out here of coal. I mean, this will still last probably 2 or more hours at least. But definitely with let me zoom out. You do scroll around faster. Definitely with the copper here, I'm running low. So I scouted around, and the map is actually really, well, it's infinite. You can see where you haven't viewed yet hasn't been generated, but it's. I looked around. It's really big. Apparently, there's a slight glitch there. I don't know if that's where upgraded versions and the renders worked out a little differently. But there's some nice spots, but nothing really huge. So I looked around and I found an area way over here. It has a nice bit of iron, a nice bit of copper, and there's actually a nice bit of coal as well, a little further away. So I set up a secondary power plant here, and I needed to transport all this back. So I set up this railway here, and in a second you'll see the train coming in. I actually have 2 trains running on the same track. Here's the train. And yeah, since my factory's not running, this isn't really emptying, but the coal is a bit. But basically, each of these cars can hold just under 1,000 items. If I click on it, you can see it's actually, that many spots. And I have basically miners here and inserters, and if this wasn't already full, it would insert some. The train itself, you can see there's these stations each get a name, and have it go to the one station and then the other. It waits at each station for 100 seconds. That's more than enough to fill the car from empty, I think, pretty sure. And you can actually click on this to see the locomotive only has 3 pieces of fuel, but I think it uses maybe 5 coal total for the loop that I have, so that's not really a problem. But I have it picking up coal, iron ore, and copper ore, and there's actually little signals that will prevent the train from entering the next section. Sections are basically between signals or between stations. So if there's a train already on this section, it won't enter it. You can actually have trains running 2 ways on a single track, but I didn't want to play around with that. I just made a nice little circular loop. Oh, here comes the other train back. They leave at roughly the exact same time. So here's my station here, and I have the fast belts for the ore because when my factory is really going, this does get sucked up pretty quick, and just slow belts on the coal, which actually comes all the way down and into my splitter section. But you see, as the coal gets used, you see it's used and we unload some. But the way this is set up, only if there's a gap does any of the ores get used, and you see I'm not really using any ores because I'm not researching anything right now. So let me turn on some research. But before I do that, let me explain this part. So one of the items needed by the blue science packs is a smart inserter. Now, there's a bunch of types of inserters. This is a burner inserter, which means it runs on coal. All the other inserters run electricity. So we got our basic electric inserter, the long-handed one, which grabs things from 2 units away and puts it right next to it. I wish there was an option. I actually haven't tried. Yeah, there isn't an option. I wish there was an option to also place things 2 units away, so if you have like a double belt here, like this is taking electric circuits, but if this was building electric circuits, I'd like to be able to put them on the far side of the second belt. But that's not currently an option, but there's forums I can post in there, and maybe see that option get added. But then we have a fast inserter, which runs at twice the rate of a standard inserter. And then we have a filter inserter, which I'm pretty sure I showed off before, but here's one. You can right click on them, and you can pick which items they'll pick up. In this case, I have it picking up only iron plates and not the copper ones to fill this, because I only wanted iron plates in this chest, and the car doesn't need copper plates to be made. So that kind of sounds like it covers everything. So what's the purpose of smart inserters? And I had to read some stuff on the forums, but smart inserters work along with smart chests, and there is also red wire and green wire. So I have a little example here. So here's my normal ammo, and it puts stuff on its own belt, and when that belt fills up, these can no longer unload, so these things stop producing. But the way things worked out, there wasn't really room here with the way this worked out. So I wind up, for the piercing ammo, I wind up putting it on the same belt as the red science packs, but I don't want them coming this way because then they get mixed in with the green science packs, and that'd be all sorts of problems over here, backing up stuff or maybe blocking the green packs from getting to the science labs. So as output, I excuse me. As output here, I have these smart inserters. And if you look closely here, there's also green wires. Now, you make some of these green wires. I still have a few left over, and it's a little complicated, but you click on either you click on a smart insert, and then you have to click on electric poles, and this is a medium electric pole. It basically covers a larger area, but you can see I have all these smart inserters hooked to these green wires, and then that gets hooked to this smart chest. And basically, the way it works is these factories will keep producing items until they're full. These happen to fill up at 3, and then they won't produce more. Now, normally, these smart inserters would just take them and put them on the belt, and then these filter inserters would take them off the belt and put them on this belt, and then they get put in this chest. This is a smart chest. You can see all the smart chest says it has 3,000 units of the item, and that's hooked up to this green wire, and that basically the chest is broadcasting its contents to everybody that is hooked up to that green wire. So when you click on one of these smart inserters, you can filter what they take, but you can also set conditions based on the contents of a chest. So I basically said, for all of these, I've set up all these smart inserters. While the green wire is showing less than 3,000 piercing rounds, you run. Once it does hit 3,000, it will stop. So I actually can move this up to, I think, 4,000 next. And you can see it is now operating and taking stuff out of this assembly machine. And it does take a while for this machine to run, but you can see it just took it out, and then it gets placed on this belt. But basically, I think the chest can't hold 4,000. Or maybe it just holds 4,000. But basically, I set the limit so there's no way that those rounds would overflow, because there'd always be room in the chest. I can set this back to 3,000, and it will stop now, so this assembly machine will make enough to fill up, but then stop. But see, if I then went over here and like took a whole load out, you can see now all of them start going, and they all start making more piercing rounds. So using these smart inserters and smart chests, you can actually run multiple different networks. That's why you have the red and the green. So you can say, oh, if there's less than this amount or more than this amount, or you can hook a red and green up to both, or you can use them as separate networks for different purposes. But that's the purpose of the red and green inserters. The smart inserters and the red and green wires. So I am going to now do a research, and this is one I haven't done yet. I want to do a research with all three. How about lab efficiency? That's supposed to make your labs, looks like 20% faster, or is that just whatever? They'll make the labs run faster. So now that the labs are running, you can see they pulled some green, and now so this one can make more. They pulled some red, this one's making more. They pulled some blue, this one's making more. And that's pulling items. So all of these should be running. And let's see how. See, the plates are starting to come down, and so are the copper, but we got plenty made here, so that's. You see, look, the circuits are definitely going down. I got two machines running here. Let's see how the electricity usage is going. You can right-click on a pole, and you see the assembly machines have gone way up. I think these produce a little over half a kilowatt, so with 19 we can produce 10 kilowatts. I'm not sure why this says 2 here. All that says 6. See, as more machines get activated, the power usage of them goes up. And it looks like our mining drills are starting to kick in. They've gone up. So we're definitely using more ore now. And yeah, you can see it's shuffling, and this hasn't moved yet, but I can actually do a little test and remove a belt, and you can see that these are starting to pull now, and the train pulls away, so this should drain a bit. And a new train comes in. So you can see they offload pretty quick. And actually you could offload at double the rate once well, if I move the right one here, let's I basically had this to kind of even the amount, because there were gaps, and this kind of lets it fill in. Kind of a little technique I've figured out. And you see, still not using the full production of plates that we could, but the definitely the production of copper has ramped up. You can see all these are going almost full force here. Just this last one. You see definitely the rate of usage of these circuits have gone way up. You see almost all the wires used here. Yep, we're now all these are running, and in a minute here it's almost gonna be needing some. Yep. See, the blue packs have definitely gone down, but we now have all the factories running. Green hasn't been used up, but we do have 3 factories running now. It's got 2 factories for the assemblers for the reds. So the reds are keeping up.
Research complete.
Greens are keeping up, and that was that research. And it looks like I can do it again. Definitely some of these have levels. These are actually modules you can install in factory type 3, I believe. Basically lets the factory run faster. That takes 200 of each. Let's see, what can I do to get more that's something else. I haven't really built one of these. Basically those upgrades, so I can put this here and put in 2 different upgrades that will make the factories in the affected area just this one, but you can design things so it affected more. So let's see, you could build a speed module, or productivity module. Basically, the speed module makes the machine run 20% faster, but it takes in 50% more materials and more power. Maybe it's just 50% more power, the same number of materials. Productivity module. 5% productivity bonus. I'm not sure if that's faster or like every 20 items you get a free item. But again, increases the power. And then you have a effectivity, which apparently decreases the power. But doesn't affect anything else. So you can apparently put up to 2 modules in here, and all the assemblers or machines that are within that area get that bonus. And yeah, right now it's using the old science lab art, but apparently it's going to get new art eventually. There's some new armor. That covers about everything that I've figured out. Yeah, the railroad tracks here needed stone, so I had to go. The nearest stone is over here. Obviously, I'm not making any more tracks, so at least not at the moment. I was kind of toying with kind of making a factory for every useful thing. I kind of would like to make a factory to make the gun turrets and laser turrets. Maybe radars, just because. I mean, I had a lot of fun doing this. I kind of would like, though, a deeper tech tree. More things to build. Like, I think the car is way too easy to build. Maybe have it 5 advanced circuits, and actually what they really need to do is keep the plates, maybe make them advanced circuits, but they really need a motor. So that, like, the car would use the motor, the locomotive would need the motor, maybe a radar would need a motor or something like that. Although that would complicate one of their earlier tutorial levels. Where's the? I mean, that's just steel and some, so maybe replace the gears with a motor, and the motor itself would need some gears and a circuit, or just a. I definitely had fun with it. It just, even though this looks complex and took me probably 6 hours to build, now that I have it, there's not that much more. I mean, I'll probably replay this with aliens on and actually having a guy so I could drive the little car around and do some more of the researches, because I'm locked out. Like, I'll never be able to get this because I don't have any alien science packs, and even the prerequisites need alien science packs, and without having a character or without having alien huts, there's no way to get science packs. I guess I don't need the character. I could have the alien science packs and just have the aliens on and have the aliens attack and have some turrets. That's maybe one thing I want to do is set up a perimeter defense here. Make a big production for these filled up. Make a big production of ammo and have a belt going around the outside with turrets every so often. That would definitely be something to add on to this factory. Maybe play with the trains a little more, because I know you can do crossings and you can actually have junctions, so maybe that's a nice coal. So maybe look for another location and set up another station and have the train tracks merge here and figure out how that works. And you can see, yeah, I'm running completely off the train delivered ore here, and you can see it's, by the time we're down here, it's pretty full. One thing I did notice is with one row of ore here, when let me just, if I wipe everything out here, if these weren't here, you can see it gets thinned out, and these would never run because they would never get any ore. So I basically have it so it has a secondary line, and at strategic points it adds more in if possible. So right now these are hardly running because there's no space. I could probably upgrade these to the 3rd level of conveyor belts. Basically the yellows run at speed 1, these run at twice the speed, and these run at 3 times the speed. But I don't really have anything that sucks them up too much. You can see now this is building wires, and because I pulled them all up before, not much got through, so it was kind of a gap, but they're getting through now. These are running the advanced ammo, and they use up a lot of copper, but enough is getting through that this will still be making enough wires so that this extra circuit
Research
making...
complete.
Let's just go with that. This extra circuit making factory assembly machine, still running. It's, I believe it is getting starved for circuit boards here a little bit, so I may want to make another one of these. Probably just reroute this and put another one that also dumps it on here. So you can see with these assemblers taking all that, because they're making inserters, and each one of these needs a circuit board, at least a circuit board, if not more. This gets starved, but I do have 2 more machines down here, so that actually happens to be pulling off this same bunch. So, maybe if I added in another blue potion science pack assembler here, then I might want to do that, because these might start running low. But as you can see, do seem to have more stuff being produced than these consume, which is what you want. But yeah, the way this is set up, these are fed before these, but that's actually kind of the reason I put these 2 assemblers here, because they'll be fed off of this same path. So these guys wind up being secondary and not the primary source. If you drain enough. It's, so these guys will get preferential circuit boards basically over these guys. The way it's set up, you can see these are pulling down to here, these pulling off. So these guys won't run, but only to allow these to run as fast as possible. here just pulls off of the main. You can see we are actually running low on copper now. And this will be my last thing. Kind of put these back to run full ore. It's got blocked up there. Yeah, you can see the ore is only coming out. The copper bars are coming out in batches, and there's some gaps. Let's see if give this just a minute to filter through. Yeah, you can see there's a few furnaces not running. But now that we have full input, let's see if that looks like all these are running now, and almost have all of these up here running. Yeah, we now seem to have all of them running.
Research complete.
Yeah, so down here, looks like we have almost full copper bars now. Let's see if that, not sure it's completely made it down here yet. Looks like it. Maybe if these stop. So that should cause these to stop in just a minute after they've made 2 or 3 more. Yeah, we are starting to get some through here, so that should help. They should be kind of instantly made into wire. Yeah, so definitely can't run off the trains alone right now, but maybe if I doubled the number of cars, so I had 2 loads, and could unload, 2 loads of each ore, and could unload both simultaneously, that would be enough to feed this whole system. As you can see, you probably could definitely upgrade this belt, get it moving faster, so there's more gaps between the items, so that more copper can be placed down. Although looks like I may need more furnaces, or just convert more of these furnaces into the upgraded steel furnaces, which have twice the smelting speed, so I can produce more copper at once. Would solve the issue. Although, yeah, you now see this is all backing up, which is good. You want things backed up.
Research complete.
You kind of want things backing up on the belt. If things aren't like here, there are no circuit boards. Well, he can't run and help produce more advanced ones. So you definitely do want things backed up on belts. One thing I didn't do, which probably should have, if I had to rebuild this, I definitely put in basically having chests as buffers, so if you do run low, you have a whole chest full of things that you can have an arm take out of. So basically, I basically didn't do this anywhere. I'm not really sure it works with super high volumes, but just build a really quick example here. And let's build a few of those. And more of those. So you have a chest here, and let's assume this chest is a factory. lots of stuff is coming out of the factory. And you have a fast inserter here, and one here, and one here. Let's just power this. So our factory is outputting stuff, and it goes down our belt, and there's another factory, but that assembly machine, but it doesn't need anything. So eventually stuff will back up here, and if it was just your traditional kind of what I have is one factory putting stuff out in the belt, and then things get backed up, well, then at some point it kind of just stops, and we could produce more, but there's nowhere for it to go, so it kind of just, we don't produce anymore. If then you have something that uses it real quick, if it's coming and using it, this kind of just, it'll keep coming at the same speed. But once this backs up, or buffers up, the chest acts as a buffer here. Stick that there. You out of my inventory. So the factory can keep running. Things build up in the chest. So if then later this factory stops producing, but this one down here starts consuming more, well, you can keep pulling out of the chest for a while until this factory gets his materials again. So that could have helped with like the situation here with these copper bars. I could have done something like that. So I had a whole chest full of copper bars. So if the production does slow down, I still could pull out of the chest and put on the belt. So yeah, that's kind of an improvement for my next factory. This one is basically a linear design. Just made a L shape to get around this. Didn't want to cut down all these trees, but we had some good resources up here and coal over here, and kind of just built around this group of trees. But yeah, that's this factory, and that's Factorio. There's definitely some scenario packs I want to look at, and actually kind of have an idea or two for a scenario of my own, but I'm not sure if it's possible to make them. I haven't looked into making scenarios or maps, or I know there is a mod scene. Haven't looked into that yet, so there's definitely a lot I could look into. The game's still got a ways to go. I'm sure they'll be adding more recipes, more items you can make, and a deeper tech tree. I think that would definitely help the longevity. They're definitely going to be lengthening the campaign. I mean, it's only a few missions. Once they add more features, I'm sure they'll add missions to feature those features. But that's be kind of a more in-depth look at Factorio and the crazy factories you can build in it. Well, guess I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.